I spent every dollar for mom's treatment while my sister barely visited but still branded herself the caring daughter. When I called her out at the family dinner, she said I tried to downplay her. My mother got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer back in 2021. Treatment was expensive, really expensive. Insurance covered some, but the copays and medications and everything else that came with it nearly broke her financially. My sister lives 2 hours away. I live 20 minutes from my mother. When the diagnosis came, my sister drove down, cried a lot, posted about it on social media with this long caption about how family comes first and how she'd always be there for her. Then she went back home. I'm the one who took my mother to every single chemotherapy appointment. I'm the one who held her hair back when she got sick. I'm the one who paid her mortgage when she couldn't work anymore. I paid for her medications. I paid for the home health aide when she needed one. My sister would visit maybe once a month. She'd bring flowers, take a bunch of photos, post them online with captions like, "Spending quality time with my hero," and "Grateful for every moment with mom." Her friends would comment things like, "You're such an amazing daughter and your mom is so lucky to have you." Meanwhile, I was writing checks, big ones. I emptied my savings account. I took out a personal loan. I pushed back buying a house with my husband because every extra dollar went to keeping my mother alive. My sister never offered to help financially, not once. When my mother mentioned money stress, my sister would say things like, "I wish I could help, but things are tight right now," and then post pictures from her vacation to Mexico. 2 weeks later, my husband started getting frustrated around year 2. He never said I should stop helping my mother, but I could tell it bothered him that we were struggling while my sister lived her life and got all the credit. He'd see her posts and just shake his head. Last month, my mother finished her treatment. She's in remission. My sister immediately started planning this big Thanksgiving dinner at my mother's house to celebrate her recovery. She invited extended family cousins we haven't seen in years, my mother's friends from church. She made it sound like she organized this whole thing to honor my mother. Thanksgiving Day comes. My sister decorated everything. She made a whole speech before dinner about how hard the last 3 years have been and how grateful she is that my mother pulled through. She literally said, "I don't know what I would have done without her." My aunt asked my mother how she managed everything financially because everyone knows cancer treatment costs a fortune. My mother looked at me. She started to say something, but my sister cut her off. We all pitched in. My sister said, "Family takes care of family." I felt my face get hot. My husband put his hand on my knee under the table, but I was done. Actually, I said I paid for everything. The table went quiet. My sister's smile froze. "I paid for the chemo copays," I said. "I paid her mortgage for 3 years. I paid for her medications, her medical equipment, her home health aid. I took out a loan. I emptied my savings. I drove her to every single appointment." My sister's face went red. "This isn't the time or place. You just stood up and made a speech about how hard it's been for you." I said, "I'm just clarifying the facts." My uncle asked my sister if that was true. My sister looked at my mother like she was expecting her to defend her, but my mother just looked down at her plate. I helped in other ways. My sister said, "I provided emotional support. I was there for her. You visited once a month." I said, "You brought flowers and took pictures for Instagram." My sister stood up fast and her chair scraped against the floor. "You're trying to humiliate me in front of everyone because you're jealous that people appreciate what I do." "What you do?" I said. "You posted photos. I paid $60,000. She grabbed her purse and her husband got up too. He looked uncomfortable. She said something about how I always had to make everything about money and how I was ruining Thanksgiving. Then they left. Half the family thought I was right to say something. The other half thinks I should have talked to my sister privately instead of calling her out in front of everyone. My mother hasn't said much about it. She thanked me quietly after everyone left, but she also seems upset that the dinner got ruined. My sister sent me a long text later that night saying I humiliated her on purpose because I resent her relationship with my mother. She said I'm bitter and that I chose to help financially so I don't get to throw it in her face now. She said our relationship might never recover from this. My husband says she deserved it and someone needed to stop letting her take credit for my sacrifice. But I keep thinking about my mother's face when everyone was arguing at her table. Should I have just kept my mouth shut and let her have her moment? My sister hired a lawyer, not for anything legal against me. She hired one to draft a letter about defamation and emotional distress. It arrived 4 days after Thanksgiving. My husband opened it while I was at work, and he called me immediately. "This is insane," he said. "She's actually threatening to sue you for telling the truth." The letter claimed I caused her severe emotional harm and damaged her reputation in the community. It said I intentionally humiliated her in a public setting and that my statements were made with malicious intent. There was a bunch of legal language about how she might pursue damages if I didn't issue a public apology and retraction. I called my mother. She sounded tired. "Did you know about this?" I asked. "Your sister told me she was consulting someone." My mother said I didn't think she'd actually do it. "Do you think I should apologize?" She was quiet for a long time. "I think you should do what you feel is right." That's when I realized my mother wasn't going to defend me. She wasn't going to tell my sister to stop. She was going to stay neutral and let us destroy each other. I didn't respond to the letter. My husband wanted me to get my own lawyer, but I refused. I wasn't going to spend more money on my sister's tantrum. Then the Facebook post happened. My sister wrote this long thing about toxic family members and how some people use money as a weapon to control others. She didn't name me, but everyone knew. She talked about how she'd spent years being emotionally available to our mother during her cancer journey and how some people only care about financial contributions because they need external validation. The comments were brutal. Half her friends were on her side saying things like, "You can't put a price on emotional support and money isn't everything." The other half were people who knew the real story, and they started commenting about how maybe she should explain who actually paid for what. It turned into this whole public fight in her comment section. My cousin commented, "Maybe you should tell them how much you contributed financially since you're being so honest." My sister deleted the comment, then she deleted more comments. Then she made the post friends only, but screenshots were already everywhere. My aunt called me. She's my mother's sister, and she's never liked my sister much. "I always knew she was full of it," my aunt said, but I didn't realize how bad it was. $60,000. Closer to 70 by the end, I said. "And she never gave your mother a dime. Not one." My aunt said she'd been talking to other family members and most of them were on my side. She said, "My uncle felt terrible for not knowing what was really going on and he wanted to help me somehow. I told her I didn't need anything. I just wanted my sister to stop pretending she was some kind of martyr." My mother called me 2 days later. She was crying. "Your sister isn't speaking to me," she said. "She says I should have defended her at Thanksgiving. She says I betrayed her by not correcting you." I didn't lie. I said, "I know. My mother's voice cracked, but she's my daughter too. I can't lose her." That hurt more than the lawyer letter. My mother was more worried about losing my sister than she was about what my sister had done to me. She wasn't grateful. She was just tired of the conflict. "What do you want me to do?" I asked. "I don't know," my mother said. "I just want my family back." I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to ask her where she thought her family was when I was writing checks and driving her to appointments and holding her hand through the worst 3 years of her life. But I didn't. I just told her I loved her and hung up. My husband found me crying in our bedroom an hour later. "She's never going to take your side," he said. "You know that, right?" I did know. I'd always known. My sister was the favorite. She always had been. She was charming and social and easy. I was the responsible one, the boring one, the one who showed up and did the work while my sister got the credit. I should have kept my mouth shut. I said, "No, my husband said you shouldn't have. She's been lying for 3 years. Someone had to say it." But now I'm sitting here looking at my bank account that's still recovering and my relationship with my mother that feels broken and my sister's lawyer letter sitting on the kitchen counter. And I keep wondering if telling the truth was worth this. My sister sent me a text last night. Just one line. "You'll never understand what it's like to watch someone you love almost die." I didn't respond. What could I say? That I was there too? That I watched it happen while signing checks and making medical decisions and researching treatment options at 2 in the morning? She wouldn't care. In her mind, she's the victim. My mother wants us both to come to Christmas. She says we need to work this out as a family. My sister told her she'll only come if I apologize publicly for what I said at Thanksgiving. My husband says we should skip it. He says my family doesn't deserve us there after everything. But it's my mother's first Christmas in remission, and I don't want her to spend it alone. Was exposing my sister worth destroying what's left of my family? I went to Christmas alone. My husband refused to come. We had a massive fight about it 2 days before. He said my family was using me, and I was letting them. He said my mother should have shut down my sister's lawyer threat immediately, and the fact that she didn't told me everything I needed to know. She's choosing your sister. He said she's always chosen your sister. I knew he was right, but I couldn't abandon my mother on Christmas. So I drove there by myself with a bag of gifts I bought weeks ago when I still thought we might have a normal holiday. My sister's car was already in the driveway when I arrived. I sat in my car for 10 minutes trying to decide if I should leave. But my mother opened the front door and waved at me. She looked happy, relieved. Like having both her daughters there was all that mattered. Inside, my sister was in the kitchen with her husband. She saw me and her whole face changed. "I didn't think you'd actually come," she said. "Mom invited me. She invited both of us." My sister turned back to the counter where she was arranging cookies on a plate. "I told her I'd come if you apologized." "Guess she figured you wouldn't." My mother came into the kitchen looking nervous. "Let's just have a nice day, please." We made it through Christmas Eve dinner without any major blow-ups. My sister barely spoke to me. When she did talk, it was directed at my mother or her husband. She acted like I wasn't there. After dinner, my mother asked us to stay and watch a movie like we used to when we were kids. My sister's husband said he was tired and they should go, but my mother grabbed my sister's hand. "Please," my mother said, "just a little longer." So we sat in the living room with this horrible tension hanging over everything. My sister scrolled through her phone. I pretended to watch the movie. My mother kept trying to make conversation that went nowhere. Halfway through, my sister's phone rang. She looked at it and got up quickly. "I need to take this," she said, and went into the other room. I could hear her voice getting louder. She was arguing with someone. Her husband got up and followed her. My mother and I sat there listening to muffled shouting. Then my sister came back into the living room. Her face was blotchy and red. "We're leaving," she said to her husband. My mother stood up. "What happened? What's wrong?" "Nothing. We just need to go." But her husband looked uncomfortable. He wasn't moving. "Tell her," he said to my sister. "Not now. She deserves to know." My sister glared at him. I said, "Not now." "Know what?" my mother asked. That's when my sister's husband said it. Just blurted it out like he'd been holding it in too long. "She's been having an affair." The room went silent. My mother looked at my sister. I looked at my sister. My sister looked at her husband like she wanted to kill him. "You're insane." My sister said that was him on the phone. Her husband said, his voice was shaking, "I saw the messages last week. I've been trying to figure out what to do, and you've been lying to my face this entire time." My mother sat down slowly. "Is this true?" My sister's mouth opened and closed. She looked at me like this was somehow my fault. "This is what happens," she said to me. "You humiliate me in front of everyone, and now my whole life is falling apart. Are you happy I didn't do this? I said you started it." She was crying now. "You couldn't just let me have one thing. You had to make sure everyone knew you were the better daughter." Her husband grabbed his coat. "I'm done. I'm going to my brother's. Don't come home tonight." He left. My sister stood there crying. My mother hadn't moved. "How long?" my mother asked quietly. "It doesn't matter." "How long?" 8 months. My sister wiped her face. "It just happened. We met at a conference and it just happened. I felt sick during my mother's cancer treatment. During all those posts about family and being there for the people you love, she was cheating on her husband. I need you both to leave." My mother said, "What?" My sister looked shocked. "I can't do this tonight." My mother's voice was flat. "I can't sit here and deal with this. I just wanted one normal Christmas." "Mom, please." My sister said, "Leave." I grabbed my coat. My sister was still standing there crying, trying to get my mother to look at her. But my mother just walked to her bedroom and closed the door. I left without saying anything. My sister followed me outside. "This is your fault." She yelled at me in the driveway. "You destroyed this family." I turned around. "I paid for Mom's cancer treatment. You posted pictures and cheated on your husband. Don't put this on me." She called me something I won't repeat and got in her car. I drove home and my husband was still awake. He took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. What happened? I told him everything about my sister's affair, about her husband leaving, about my mother kicking us both out. She blamed me. I said for all of it. My husband didn't say I told you so. He just held me while I cried. My mother texted me the next morning. Just one sentence. I need some time. My sister hasn't contacted me at all. But I saw she deleted her Instagram account. All those perfect daughter posts just gone. I keep thinking about how my sister said I destroyed the family, but I didn't cheat on anyone. I didn't lie for 3 years about being a caretaker while someone else paid the bills. I just told the truth at Thanksgiving. Did telling the truth really cause all of this? Or was my sister's life already a lie waiting to collapse? Update 3. My mother called me 3 weeks after Christmas and told me my sister tried to kill herself. I was at work when my phone rang. I almost didn't answer because I'd been giving my mother the space she asked for. But something made me pick up. She took pills. My mother said her voice sounded hollow. Her husband found her this morning. She's at the hospital. I left work immediately. The drive to the hospital took 40 minutes and I spent the entire time shaking. My husband kept texting me asking if I was okay. I didn't know how to answer. My sister's husband was in the waiting room when I got there. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. When he saw me, he stood up. "Is she okay?" I asked. They pumped her stomach. "She's stable." He sat back down and put his head in his hands. I shouldn't have left her alone that night. After Christmas. I should have known. "This isn't your fault," I said. She left a note. He looked up at me. It mentioned you. My stomach dropped. What did it say? That everyone hated her, that you ruined her life, that she couldn't live with everyone knowing the truth about her? He wiped his face. The affair guy broke it off 2 weeks ago. Said his wife found out and he couldn't see her anymore. She's been falling apart since then. My mother arrived an hour later. She looked at me like she didn't know whether to hug me or blame me. She didn't do either. She just asked where my sister was and a nurse took her back. I sat with my sister's husband in that waiting room for 3 more hours. He told me everything. How he'd known something was wrong for months but convinced himself he was paranoid. How he found the messages the week before Christmas. How my sister begged him not to leave and promised to end it. She didn't end it, though. He said she kept seeing him. Even after I caught her, she was still messaging him while I was sleeping in the guest room. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong." He looked exhausted. "Everyone keeps acting like you caused this by calling her out at Thanksgiving. But she did this to herself. She lied for years and it caught up with her. When my mother came back out, her eyes were red. 'She wants to see you,' my mother said to me. I didn't want to go back there. I didn't want to see my sister in a hospital bed after trying to end her life. But I followed the nurse down the hallway anyway. My sister looked small in the hospital bed. She had an IV in her arm and her face was pale. When she saw me, she started crying. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry." I stood by the door. I didn't know what to say. "I know you hate me," my sister said. "Everyone hates me now. I just wanted to make it stop. I don't hate you." "Yes, you do. You've always hated me." She was sobbing now. "You were always the good one, the one who did everything right. And I was just the screw-up trying to look good." "That's not true." "It is. You know it is." She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. "I couldn't compete with you. So I pretended. I pretended I was taking care of Mom. I pretended I had a good marriage. I pretended everything was perfect, and you exposed it all. A nurse came in and said I needed to leave so my sister could rest. I walked out without saying anything else. My mother was waiting in the hallway. The doctor says she needs psychiatric care. My mother said they're transferring her tomorrow. That's good. She almost died. My mother's voice cracked. My daughter almost died and half the family is saying it's because of what you did. I didn't make her cheat on her husband. You humiliated her in front of everyone. You knew she couldn't handle it. I felt something break inside me. I paid for your cancer treatment. I emptied my savings. I took out loans. And you're standing here telling me I should have let her keep lying. I'm saying you could have talked to her privately. She was taking credit for something she didn't do for 3 years. While I was struggling financially, and she was posting pictures for likes, my mother looked at me like I was a stranger. When did you become so cruel? I left. I walked out of that hospital and got in my car and drove home. My husband was waiting for me. "How is she?" he asked. "Alive." I sat down on the couch. "My mother thinks it's my fault." He sat next to me and didn't say anything for a while. "Do you want to know what I think?" He finally said, "What I think your sister has been manipulating everyone for years. And the one time someone called her out, she couldn't handle people seeing who she really was." He took my hand. "That's not your fault. But it feels like my fault. It feels like I started something that spiraled into my sister in a hospital bed and my mother looking at me like I'm the villain. My phone has been going off constantly. Cousins texting me, my aunt calling. Everyone has an opinion about what happened and what I should do now. Some people are saying I should apologize and make peace. Others are saying my sister is manipulating everyone even now by making herself the victim. My sister's husband filed for divorce yesterday. I found out from my aunt. He's not waiting for her to get out of the psychiatric facility. He's done. And my mother still isn't speaking to me unless it's about my sister's condition. I keep replaying that moment at Thanksgiving when I spoke up. If I just stayed quiet, would any of this have happened? My sister got out of the psychiatric facility 6 weeks ago and moved across the country without telling anyone. My mother found out through a forwarding address notice. My sister didn't call, didn't text, just packed up and left. Her divorce was finalized while she was still in treatment. Her ex-husband kept the house. She got nothing because of the affair clause in their prenup. My mother has been calling me every few days since then. Not to apologize, not to admit she was wrong, just to talk. She sounds lonely. Last week she asked if I wanted to come over for dinner. Just the two of us. I almost said no. My husband told me I should say no, but something in her voice made me agree. When I got there, the house felt different, smaller somehow. My mother had taken down all the pictures of my sister, not just recent ones, all of them. Years of photos just gone. I couldn't look at this anymore, my mother said when she saw me noticing. Every single one felt like a lie. We ate dinner mostly in silence. She'd made my favorite meal, the one she used to make when I was a kid. Halfway through, she started crying. "I failed you," she said. "I spent so many years making excuses for your sister that I never saw what you were doing for me." I didn't know what to say. $70,000, my mother continued. "You gave me $70,000 and I never even thanked you properly. I just took it like it was expected. You were sick. I said you needed help and you helped me. You were there every single day and I treated your sister like she was the hero for showing up once a month with flowers." She wiped her eyes. "I knew she wasn't helping financially. I knew you were paying for everything, but it was easier to pretend she was contributing in other ways than to admit I had one daughter doing everything while the other one took credit." We sat there for a long time. She told me about a letter my sister sent her from wherever she moved to. How my sister blamed everyone but herself. How she said the family destroyed her for one mistake. 8 months isn't one mistake, my mother said. And lying for 3 years about being my caretaker isn't one mistake. I see that now. She asked if I could forgive her. Not for my sister, for herself, for choosing comfort over truth for so long. I told her I'd think about it. My husband asked me later what I was going to do. If I was going to let my mother back into my life, knowing she might do the same thing again if my sister ever came back. She won't come back. I said my sister can't face any of us after what happened. That doesn't answer my question. He was right. It didn't. I've been thinking about that Thanksgiving dinner a lot. About the moment I decided to speak up. People keep asking if I regret it, if I wish I had kept quiet. The truth is, I don't know. My sister tried to kill herself. My mother spent months resenting me. My family got torn apart. Those are real consequences that happened because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. But my sister was lying. She was taking credit for something she didn't do while I struggled financially and got no recognition. She was building a fake life on social media while cheating on her husband. At some point, doesn't the truth matter? My aunt called me yesterday. She said my sister's ex-husband is getting remarried. Someone he knew from college who reached out after seeing he was getting divorced. My aunt seemed happy for him. Said he deserved someone who wouldn't lie to him. I keep wondering what my sister is doing now, if she's working, if she's seeing anyone, if she thinks about what she lost. My mother says she doesn't want to know that she needs to focus on the daughter who actually showed up. but I see her sometimes looking at her phone like she's hoping my sister will call. My husband and I paid off the last of my loan 2 months ago, the one I took out for my mother's medical bills. It took 4 years total. We're starting to save for a house now. Real savings this time, not just whatever's left over. Sometimes I see something that reminds me of my sister, and I feel sad. Not for what she did, but for what we used to be before everything fell apart. We were close once when we were kids before she figured out she could get attention by performing, and I figured out I could get approval by being useful. Maybe that's what really broke this family. Not me speaking up at Thanksgiving, not her affair. Just two sisters who spent their whole lives playing different roles until neither of us knew how to be real anymore. My mother wants to start therapy. She asked if I'd go with her. Family counseling, just the two of us. I told her, maybe. I don't know if we'll ever be okay. I don't know if my sister will ever come back or if she'll spend the rest of her life running from what she did. I don't know if my mother will choose me next time something goes wrong or if she'll fall back into old patterns. What I do know is that I'm done being the invisible one, the one who shows up and does the work while someone else gets the credit. If that makes me the villain in my sister's story, I can live with that. My husband says I did the right thing, that sometimes the truth hurts, but it's still worth telling. I want to believe him. But late at night, I still think about my sister in that hospital bed. And I wonder if there was a different way this all could have gone.